Yeah, Tom, I think really leveled it up this year with what he did.
Mm.
Getting people to contribute and get a prize pool and get money in the situation just made it that much more real and that much more serious. Um, yeah, so I thought it made it a lot more exciting. Some of the categories are kind of serious and some are kind of foolish,
I
like
like that.
well,
Yeah.
or just more jokey,
Joking.
like
Yeah.
like best hair,
Hmm.
ugliest skate, things like that. But I really thought it was cool that he kind of took control with that, and he did a good. What are you laughing at? Which one did you?
You said ugliest skate, and for some reason in my mind I thought ugliest skater, and I was like, I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah,
That should have been a category though. I would have been
yeah.
in
I
the
don't.
running for that
My
one.
wife was going through some of those, and she's like, "That's mean," and I was like, "Look,
You
it's
gotta have
fun.
some
It's
fun.
fun.
Yes, you gotta have some
It's
fun.
fun."
Nothing was
Yeah,
serious,
but
like yeah, except for the real ones like Skater of the Year and Section of the Year and stuff. But
yeah, exactly.
it's always good
But
to
I
have
thought it
fun.
was cool that he and everyone in the community came together and put some money together to make it that much more real. I think that's going to change the landscape of skating for 2025 actually, because
Yeah,
now that people saw how much money can go into the prize pool, I think it ended up being
it's
like
over
over eight
seven.
thousand
Oh,
pounds,
eight
which was
thousand
like
pounds. Yeah,
I think like around $10,000 in the prize
that's
pool,
sick.
which is incredible. So like now I know there are some people that are switched on that are like, I want to win
Yeah,
skater of the year now in 2025 because it means that much more. Like not only is it something that's recognized by the community on its own, but it's something that like now there's a prize pool, there's money. So I
mhm.
think people will be gunning for it more. So you're going to see a lot more activity in 2025. I think that on its own is really going to push people to be more productive and be more strategic and try to do things like that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I love that. That's an awesome idea. Props to Tom for doing that. It's such like a I don't know. It's like a concept that like I feel like we're as an industry maturing a lot recently. Like it reminds me of the royalties, the skate royalties now. Like when John Julio implemented like the $30 or $40 royalties for pro skates. Now like kind of
Mm,
everyone's doing something like that, which is like
yeah,
it should have been happening years and years ago, but it hasn't. But like it needs takes one person to do it, and then that's the standard now. And Tom has done this, took initiative to raise some money for a prize pool for Skater of the Year, male and female. And now I hope that that's like the new standard for every year moving forward. Um, I would like to see a trophy of some sort. I think it'd be cool to have something tangible. Like it's nice to have the money and everything, but like if he took like I don't know, if he someone made like a Skater of the Year trophy, I think that'd be cool to have like a little
yeah,
keepsake memento for it. It'd be really cool.
yeah.
Sean would have his showcase at his house in Philly of all his Skater of the Year awards. But I think that's really cool.
Who
Should
knows? I mean, Tom's a pretty tuned in guy. He might be he has money from the prize pool. Maybe he's taking some and
yeah,
making a trophy out of that.
That's what I was gonna say.
If
Even take some of
not,
it.
if not, it could be a good idea for next year.
Yeah, yeah, not for this year. I mean, this year like it seemed like he was just like, let me try this, test it out, see what happens. It
Yeah.
worked really well. It probably well exceeded his expectations. I forgot what the was it like 5,000 pounds the goal. I think it was 5,000 pounds the goal.
I think
And
so.
yeah, so he
Yeah.
well exceeded it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the goal will be for next year, but it's nice to have and nice to see that. I
And
don't.
maybe for next year, because this has been a thing, maybe like companies can contribute to the prize pool. Maybe we could do like some sort of event fundraiser for it,
Yeah.
because it's cool to get like 10,000 and that's like incredible. It'd be cool if that became the standard every year,
Hmm.
or like what we could do, but it would be cooler if it like just imagine what that's going to do in terms of the motivation for people who are wanting that spot now. It's going to motivate them more,
Hmm.
but it'd be cool to get it like even higher at some point. Be
Yeah.
really cool to like see like other people come together other ways to get money together for that. It'd be
Yeah.
fun,
I know it would be
because
fun.
the more competitive it is, the more entertaining skating is going to be. That's just like having things be competitive is just more exciting in any field.
So this brings me to something that I was thinking about a few times over the last like month or so when this whole Skater of the Year debacle came up, at the end of the year. Like when everybody mentions Skater of the Year, everyone's talking about or thinking of like the sections they put out throughout the year for the most part. Like Sean put out all these banging sections. Cameron Talbot put out like a bunch of sections that was awesome. Julian Cadeau, and I was like, I know other people thought about this too, but like, what determines skater of the year? Is it just the cool sections that you put out? Is it like a culmination of like, if you did good at like contests too, would that boost you a little more? If you had like a pro skate that year or pro products, like does that help boost you at all? Other contributions to the industry, maybe. I never
Yeah.
heard these things being discussed in the conversation, but I'm curious what other people think because, like I said, I haven't heard this
Well,
conversation before.
I think like you said, like you can. There are like numerous ways to look at it. There's the way you could look at it, like what are the credentials for each thing done. But I think generally it's a thing that's just felt, kind of in a way. It's like, and I don't mean to say this to belittle the thing at all. I'm saying this the opposite, actually, to give it credit. It's kind of like a popularity contest. Like people are saying like who they felt the most or felt did the most that year, or who's skating they felt the most. Like you can't really put that up against like X amount of contest wins because it comes to what's received the best or whatever. It's not really a credential thing in that way. There's obviously like work done, but it's not a one for one. What have you done? Oh, okay, you won, 8 contests, you put out 4 parts, you did this, so you win because of all the check marks. It's, if you put out, you know, you could win no contest, obviously, because Sean wasn't really competing too
Mm-hmm.
much in contests this year as much as like other people were.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because there's certain little intricacies that play into what makes things great. It's not, and that's what's cool about skating because it's not one for one. It's subjective in at a certain level when it gets to a certain point. But then,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Maybe that's something that should be like clarified for next year's skate pod. If it like so people know like what they could actually do to become skater of the year, you know? Like I feel like the criteria
mm,
should be clarified maybe just if there's real money on the line. Like and I'm not saying that Tom did anything wrong at all in any way. I'm just saying like now that we're making this more official, we could probably do other things too to make it more official also. And Tom is in the chat right now too. By the
yeah,
way, he says I want to do a live award ceremony at Winter Clash next time. That'd be pretty cool. Do an
yeah.
actual
That's a great
award
idea.
ceremony. That would be really sick. That's a good idea. I think like I feel like they'd be down to do that. Winter Clash Yo Yo always has open to these ideas.
Yeah. No, I think so too. And Yo-Yo would totally be open to that. I'm sure, just
Yeah,
doing something and helping build it up and make it bigger. Um,
yeah.
but
What?
I think it is a slippery slope when you make it like that kind of check mark credential thing. Like, what's the criteria? Because hypothetically, whatever you put out like 8 parts, but one puts out like two hugely impactful ones because like
Mhm.
the level to things matter, right? Levels to everything. Excuse
Yeah.
me. There's levels to everything. Um,
Well, quality
and
of
that's why I think
content.
Sean was able to win because he was skating at the highest level.
Yeah. All I'm saying,
And
quality
not
is.
to say the other candidates weren't skating at the highest level they were.
Mhm.
It just becomes a little hazy when you get to that high point because it becomes preference, subjectiveness. Also, there's like whatever level that kind of blurs the lines at that point. That's where you're kind of testing new ideas. Like a lot of that stuff needs to be taken into account and influence. You know
I
what I
was
mean?
literally about to say
Influence is a
influence. Yeah.
huge thing. And like, how do you measure that? That's what I mean. There's some aspects of it where you can't really measure it and it just becomes subjective.
That's the beauty of our sport, though. You can't really measure like what's better, whose skating is better. It is subjective. It is
Yeah.
preference. You could definitely have people skating at a higher level than other people, but it's like you can't compare one trick to another. It's so different, but yeah, the influence I feel like is a huge part of it too because you could be like a trendsetter kind of person, like a skater who people try to mimic you and stuff like that. I feel like that's important as well as like skater of the year. People really try to, or if you influence like a new generation of skating or style of tricks, whatever, like that's huge. So all
Yeah.
these things should definitely be taken into consideration and maybe not like an actual like criteria, whatever, but like maybe people should think about these things when they're voting for a skater of the year rather than like a popularity contest type of thing, you know? That being said, congrats to Sean being skater of the year. He definitely deserves it. And Shihiro for being female skater of the year. Both of them are incredible, amazing skaters, and they both deserve it. I'm not taking anything away from that at all. I'm just trying to like play devil's advocate a little bit, you know?
No, I hear you. So I think, like personally, my opinion would be that like the contest skating would have less of an impact on the
I
skater of the
agree.
year than than like the sections, depending on like the level, because what's happening in contest is different than what you're trying to communicate in a section.
Hmm.
And at a contest, you're kind of trying to like show consistency. You're trying to like unload like your vocabulary
Completely
and
different. Yeah.
exactly on. Sometimes with street, you're testing ideas, you're introducing ideas, you're you're kind of showing new things, or that's what you're aiming for when you get to the higher levels. And like that's not what contests are really for. It's not for like figuring out new stuff. Contests are for like, showing your prowess and your ability and consistency and all those things, which is super important, but that's not going to have the same impact or on like ideas
Hmm.
as like a part would, in my opinion. That would be my thought there.
I agree with that too completely. Like people, I mean, if that was the case, I feel like Julian Cadeau would win Skater of the Year every year because he destroys contests left and right throughout the year, every year. And
Yeah.
he hasn't won Skater of the Year because, people voted they enjoyed other people's skating or sections or whatever more. And that's just the way the people voted. I agree with that too. Maybe it's like a count back thing. If like you have two people gunning for Skater of the Year and they're like both really good, but like maybe one of them did win like a couple of major events throughout the year and the other person didn't, be like, oh, maybe that person deserves a little more because they did have that edge. Or maybe they have gotten a pro skate and a pro wheel, a little bit more like an accomplishment to push them over the edge a little bit. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing ideas out there.
Also the online parts are going to live longer than the
Yeah, a
contest
contest.
wins,
Yeah,
because like you have to be at the contest and to witness it to see the level, or to really like understand it, versus like seeing it on Instagram or on YouTube. When you're watching some of
definitely.
those, it hits different when you're at the contest. You're like, wow, this is like crazy high level. And then when you see it, and just the way the parts are crafted, it's just meant to like live longer.
Yeah.
So